What do a white supremacist and an Islamic extremist have in common? These two groups seem diametrically opposed to each other, but a strong similarity lurks underneath. In short, these two groups tend to attract the same type of person. And that type of person, from a psychological perspective, is typically strong in three personality traits: anger, jealousy, and, most importantly, a need for purity. Anger and jealousy are rather easy to understand, but just to make it clear, anger tends to be directed toward the in-group. For white supremacists, the anger is directed toward members of the white race who are betraying the white race by race mixing or by supporting policies that are leading to the perceived destruction of the white race. For Islamic extremists, the anger is directed toward Muslims who are aiding the infidels and thus betraying Islam. Jealousy tends to be directed toward the outgroup. For white supremacists, the jealousy is directed toward minorities and immigrants who are perceived to have been given unfair advantages, such as affirmative action and diversity quotas. For Islamic extremists, the jealousy is directed toward men who have social success, those who ultimately obtain multiple wives and have large families. Indeed, Islamic extremists tend to be from lower socioeconomic statuses and respond well to the promise of women as a reward in Islamic heaven. The need for purity is a bit more difficult to understand than anger and jealousy. The concept has only recently interested psychologists, and defining purity is a difficult task in itself. Psychologists have found that it is actually much easier to define the concept of impurity as opposed to purity. Consider the following actions: engaging in a consensual sexual relationship with an immediate family member, such as your sister, brother, mother, or father. Eating your friend's scabs. Using a mutilated animal corpse as a dining table. If you're like most people, you found these actions viscerally disgusting. However, on deeper reflection, none of these actions bring any tangible harm. That is impurity. An action that is not objectively harmful, yet is eschewed by society. Not everyone shares the same sense of purity. The examples I just gave are generally agreed upon by all cultures. But now consider a few more examples. Again, notice how none of these actions are objectively harmful. Eating chicken shortly after your father passed away. Making carbonara. Wearing your shoes indoors. Unless you are a Brahmin Indian, Muslim, or Japanese, respectively, you probably didn't feel gross about any of these examples. Indeed, purity can be culturally defined. But the need for purity is a personality trait that remains stable across cultures, pushing up an individual's insistence in adhering to pure principles. The need for purity can be satisfied by many means. Some adhere to philosophies. Others use religion. Still others satisfy their need for purity by clean eating and exercise. Relevant to the interrogation we will watch shortly is the idea that a person can change cultures more easily than he can change his need for purity. A Christian with a high need for purity can convert to Judaism, but his strict adherence to his religion of choice is unlikely to change during the process. A Christian who refuses to work on Sundays is unlikely to scoff at the idea of eating only kosher once he converts to Judaism, for example. Let's return to the two groups I mentioned at the beginning: white supremacists and Islamic extremists. I did not choose these two groups at random. In fact, these two groups are directly relevant to today's case. The murderer in question was a white supremacist who converted to radical Islam. On a surface level, The conversion between these two groups seems far-fetched. But once you understand how these two groups can both fulfill the desires of angry, jealous individuals with a high need for purity, the conversion makes more sense. This is the case of Corey Johnson. Corey Johnson, 17 in age and a recent convert of Islam, was invited to his friend's house for a sleepover birthday party. The party, however, unexpectedly concluded early in the night due to Corey's plan to kill the attendees. The birthday boy, barely 13 years old on that evening, was stabbed a total of 49 times. Corey managed to stab another boy and the boy's mom before the police were called, at which time Corey barricaded himself in a closet. When the police arrived, they subdued Corey with tear gas and brought him in for questioning.
I don't know what changes they made. Is that consistent with whatever changes they made? Yeah, same. Alright, Corey, before I get going, I want to just go through and read your rights again. I read them out at the scene. Just bear with me while I read through them again, alright? I'm required to warn you before you make a statement you have the following constitutional rights. You have the right to remain silent, not answer any questions. Tell me in your own words what you think this means.
I don't have to answer anything you say.
Right. Any statement you make must be freely and voluntarily given. Tell me what you think this means.
I have to give it on my own free will.
Yes. You have the right to the presence and representation of a lawyer of your choice before you make any statement and during any question. What does that mean?
I have the right to get a lawyer before I answer anything.
That's correct. If you cannot afford a lawyer, you're entitled to the present representation of a court-appointed lawyer before you make any statement and during any questioning. What does that mean?
If I can't afford a lawyer, the state will give me.
Good. If at any time during the interview you do not wish to answer any questions, you may remain silent. Tell me what this means to you.
I don't have to answer anything you ask.
Right.
during the interview.
Good. I can make no threats or promises to induce you to make a statement. Your statement must be of your own free will. What does that mean?
You can't try to promise me something or threaten me with something to say something that I don't want to.
That's right. Lastly, any statement can and will be used against you in a court of law. What does that mean to you?
Anything I say here will be used against me in the trial.
Sure. You understand everything I just explained to you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Alright, with these rights in mind, we're going to ask you a couple of questions. First of all, let me make sure I got your full name right. I know we spoke out at the scene briefly when I asked you what your name was. Spell your name for me.
Corey. Benjamin? Do you need the middle name spelled?
Yes, your full legal name.
Benjamin.
Okay.
Johnsson.
Okay. Corey Benjamin Johnson. What's your date of birth?
June 27th, 2000.
Okay, Corey. And where do you live?
I live in Jupiter.
Where?
135 Cape Point Circle.
135 Cape Point Circle in Jupiter? Where is that generally? I'm not that familiar with this.
It's in the bluffs. It's right near Juneau.
Near Juneau Beach? So like by A1A and the beach.
It's Marcinski and I think it's US 1.
Okay, I know where that is. So how old are you today?
I'm 17.
Okay, what's the last grade school you completed?
I was completed.
What are you in now? You're enrolled now. What are you in?
I was in 11th grade at Dwyer, but I dropped out. I was going to take online school.
Okay, so the last grade you were registered in was 11th. When did you drop out?
I don't know if I'm officially withdrawn yet, but I haven't gone to school for a month or two.
Okay. us about what brings you to Balance community.
My best friend Kyle invited me over to have a sleepover.
How old is Kyle?
He just turned 15.
What's Kyle's last name?
Bancroft. Bancroft.
What school does he go to?
He doesn't go to school.
Okay. Where does he live?
There.
Where in Balance? You know the address?
I think it's 330 Sunset Bay Lane. Bay Road, something like that.
And so it's Monday morning now. When did you go to the house?
Last night I was at downtown at the Gardens, and his mom picked us up and drove us there.
What's his mom's name?
Elaine Simon.
Who?
Elaine Simon.
Simon?
Yes.
And she lives at that address?
Yes.
Okay. Who all lives in that house?
Kyle, his brother Dane, and Elaine.
Kyle has a brother, Dane.
Yes.
How old is Dane?
I think he's 13.
Dane Bancroft.
Yes.
Is there a dad that lives with him?
The dad lives in Gardens, right next to Dwyer.
Do you know his name?
Lucas Bancroft.
How long have you known Kyle?
9 or 10 years.
So you went to school together for a while? No?
I met him there was a place called ABC Montessori. There was a daycare, I don't know if it's still around. I met him there right after I first moved to Florida.
Where did you move from?
Missouri.
Missouri. With your mom and dad?
I moved with my mom and my 2 siblings away from my dad because he was not a good person.
Does your dad still live in Missouri?
He died when I was 10 or 11.
I'm sorry to hear that. So you just live with mom?
I lived with my mom, her boyfriend Jay, and my 2 siblings.
Who are your siblings?
Emily Johnson, Evan Johnson. Emily is 15, I think, and Evan he just turned 12.
So you're the oldest.
Yes.
They all live in Jupiter?
They all live at 135, yes.
At Cape Point Circle?
Mm-hmm.
So did you and Kyle attend Montessori together?
That's where I met him, yes.
But were you classmates for several years, or you just met him there and then
I never saw him at school.
You never saw him at school?
I knew him at ABC Montessori, and then briefly we went to another place when I got too old for that. I went to another place called High Tech Academy. I think they shut down, but he was there briefly, and then he stopped going, but I still kept in touch with him.
Would your mom and his mom contact each other and help you guys get together, or what? How did it work?
They used to be friends, but the past couple of years they stopped liking each other. Because Elaine, she has a lot of problems. She has, I think, a heart problem, and then I think she had like a minor stroke, and she can't remember things properly now, and she's an alcoholic, so they just stopped being friends.
Okay. That's got to be tough for Kyle, huh? And Dane?
Yes.
Being teens?
Yes.
So you and Kyle would call each other, right?
What age are we talking about?
More recently now.
Yeah, I used to play with. We used to play on the computer all the time, video games, and we talked over Skype and Discord, which I think like Skype. But recently we've been getting out more and going outside and doing things, like eating in restaurants. And
What's your phone number?
my phone number?
Mm-hmm.
561-402-3702.
561-402-3702.
Yes.
And what's Kyle's?
I don't know.
It's in your phone?
It is, but we don't really talk over text. We talk over Telegram mostly.
What's Telegram?
It's an anonymous. Um, it's secure, so nobody could read it.
What?
But I do have his number in my phone.
I'm not up on that app. Why not just text each other? I mean,
Because we don't. Cause I know I was on the FBI terrorist watch list. And
Okay.
They came to his house and they talked to him. So we just followed no security telephone.
okay. You're a young guy. Why are you on the terrorist watch list?
Because they think I'm gonna join ISIS.
Why?
I guess. I think I got on the list because I was just on YouTube. And I was watching videos, and I guess I didn't know who he was at the time, but you know Anwar al-Awlaki.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, I guess I stumbled onto some of his videos and then got their attention, I guess.
What year was that?
This was about a year ago.
So it's March of 2018 now. You think it was like March of 2017 or before that?
I think it was March of 2017.
What's on the videos?
I don't remember what I watched.
Okay. Did they come and talk to you personally?
They came to my house, they talked to my mom and myself.
What did they say?
Just trying to, I don't remember exactly what they said, just trying to stay away from bad stuff.
Don't watch the
Trying
videos?
to scare me straight. I didn't even know, because the video wasn't about terrorism or anything. I think it was just a history video. But because it was by him, I think that's what got their attention.
So you say it's more like a documentary that was produced by him?
I don't remember exactly what it is. There's a lot of accounts that
Okay.
post just random speeches by different people, and I guess he was one of them.
Did the FBI talk to Kyle?
They talked to him a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I think 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. They came to his house and they talked to him and his mom, saying, I'm a threat and I'm dangerous, and they think I'm going to do something.
Why do they think that?
Because I guess, I don't know.
You can be honest. I mean,
I really don't know.
okay. Do you practice Islam? Do you follow it?
Yes,
Okay. To what extent?
fully.
Fully. Okay. How does that work? I'm not familiar. Do you go to a mosque? Do you contact somebody locally?
Well, I used to go to a mosque maybe 6, 7 months ago. I stopped going just because I went during last summer, but then when school started, because nobody would drive me, so I had to ride my bike. And
Where is it?
it's in North Palm, I think.
Where?
I'm trying to think what it's by. It's by a car dealership, and I think it's right on the border of another town. I think it's one of the bad towns, maybe Riviera. I'm sure.
I think I heard about that mosque. I think they had some vandalism or something. Someone damaged the windows intentionally.
Yeah, that's the one.
So you say fully. What does that mean? As opposed to like just drop it in. What's the difference?
Well, some people that claim to be Muslim, they just, to the extent that they maybe don't eat pork and they don't drink. I don't do any of that. I pray 5 times a day. I fast during Ramadan. Do all of it.
Okay. So you read the Quran. You follow the tenets. Okay. Are you the only one in your family? How did you get into that?
I got into it online. Just it matched up with what I already believed in.
Okay.
And then after a while, I decided it was right, so I converted.
So this isn't a case where your mom or your neighbor or an aunt or uncle said, "Hey, we go to the mosque. Why don't you come with us?"
Right. Nobody I know. Well, I did meet some people at the mosque, but besides that, nobody I know is Muslim.
Okay. Is there a head cleric there, a mullah, somebody that is there constantly? Who's there giving?
The 2 main people are the imam, which is, I think his name's Saeed al-Maghribi, I think, I'm not sure.
Uh-huh.
And He's the president there. Oh, Sharif Al-Husseini, something like that. He's the president there. And Sharif was always nice to me, but I haven't spoken with him in 6-7 months or so.
How come?
Just because of school, and then I was busy.
Okay, so the distance and having to ride your bike there became a little bit too much.
Especially after school, because at that point I went to physical school.
Okay. Were you still able to carry on prayer throughout the day, even though you didn't go?
Yes.
Did the visit from the FBI have anything to do with you not going there?
I started going to the mosque after the FBI came.
Okay.
So before that, I only prayed at home, and I did my stuff at home.
Okay.
Corey was being monitored by the FBI due to a history of troubling behavior. In middle school, several students reported Corey for engaging in stalker-like behavior online. Corey was also suspected of calling in a threat to an English high school, a threat that led to 100 students being pulled out of their classes. As a result, the FBI placed monitoring software on Corey's computer. When the FBI found Corey watching Islamic extremism videos, they paid a visit to his house. He was encouraged to visit a mosque instead of self-educating himself on Islam online. Ultimately, despite being on the FBI watch list and being subjected to a peaceful intervention, Corey continued down the extremism rabbit hole.
Okay. Does it require you? Again, I'm not real familiar. Does it require you to adopt another name? Okay. Do you use another name?
Online, I go by Mustafa sometimes.
Mustafa?
Yes.
How do you spell it?
Mustafa.
Okay.
It's just online pseudonym.
So that would be for your YouTube videos.
The only thing I really have is Instagram, just a personal account,
Mm-hmm.
just to follow people, just see what they post. Just Islamic accounts mainly.
Okay.
Religious quotes and stuff like that.
So were you able to get any support or information or religious studies online while you didn't physically go to the mosque?
Yes.
You were. And what was that money through? Online boards, websites, what?
YouTube, from Telegram, I got some like text documents from like famous old scholars.
Okay.
Ibn Taymiyyah, Al-Qayyim, people like that.
Okay. So your intention was to go from downtown with Kyle back to his house yesterday. Is that right?
That's what I did. Yes.
Was Dane with Kyle?
I haven't been home in about maybe a week or so because I've been having problems with Jay, my mom's boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been sleeping different places. Sometimes I slept at Sunset where I got arrested, and sometimes I slept. One time I slept at my grandma's house, and all the other times I slept at. I broke into this abandoned plaza, it's like a warehouse. I've been sleeping there.
Okay. So because of your difficulties with your mom's boyfriend, you've kind of been out on the streets a bit, sleeping away from home.
Yeah.
Where does Grandma live?
She lives in Twister.
What's her name?
Joanne. She goes by Jody. But yeah. And so today I was gonna go to work. I worked at Winn-Dixie, and I was a stalker.
Which one? The one on Northway?
No, it's on Military. It's by a CVS and a Jimmy John's. I'm not too good with the road names.
Okay.
I was gonna go there today, but my bike got stolen, so I just decided to walk to I was at the abandoned plaza I was sleeping in. That's around the area I was at. It's Military. No, it's not Military. It's US 1. It's a McDonald's on a US 1. It's near a Publix and a melting pot.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. It's almost near Juneau.
Yeah.
So let's get back to downtown yesterday. You're there last evening, right? What time
Right.
about?
So I walked from there because my bike got stolen. I wasn't going to go to work,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just walked to downtown with them, and I met up with Kyle, Dane, his brother, and there was another kid there, Zaid or Zaid or something like that. And he left almost immediately when I got there.
Mm-hmm.
But then Dane met up with some of his friends. Dane's really popular. He has a bunch of friends.
Do you go to a movie? Do you go to a restaurant? You just walk around?
We were mostly walking around, but it was someone's birthday today. Giovanni. He's the kid that slept over at my house. And the one that slept over was along with me.
Okay. How do you know Giovanni?
I don't.
You just met him at downtown.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at some point,
Yesterday.
Kyle's mom picks all of you up. Is that correct?
Yes, after we ate there because today was his birthday.
Whose birthday?
Giovanni.
What do you mean was?
I killed him
Where?
at the house
How?
with a knife.
What room in the house?
It was at the top of the stairs.
Second floor?
Yes.
Okay.
And
What happened?
Oh, so yeah, the mom picked us up and dropped us off at the house from downtown.
With the intent what? To have a sleepover?
Yes.
Okay. Had you been sleeping over there previous to last night?
Yes, I've done it multiple times.
Okay. So there's a sleepover. What happens with you and Giovanni? Is there an argument?
No, everything was fine. We just they were listening to music and they were using Juul, which is a vape, and just normal stuff for their age, I guess.
What's Juul?
It's just a little USB sized thing. It's like a vape.
Yeah, was there anything in it?
It's nicotine.
Just nicotine.
Yes.
Okay, so when you say they, who are we talking about?
Everyone.
So you're talking about Kyle, Dane, and Giovanni?
Yes.
That's it. Just those three. And yourself.
I've used it before, yes.
I want to know who's present. So it's
Yes, it's down.
Kyle?
The mom was downstairs at this point.
okay. And whose room are you in?
Dane's.
You're in Dane's room.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody sharing the vape, listen to music.
Yes.
Okay. What happens?
Nothing happens. They go to bed. Kyle goes into his room. Dane stays in his room, and Giovanni goes to, I don't know his name. It's either Giovanni or Giovanni. Goes to the top of the stairs and falls asleep there.
Okay. Then what happens?
And then I do my thing.
You do your thing. What is that? Be specific for me. I wasn't there.
I'm not really comfortable.
Did he have an argument with you?
He was asleep.
Did he insult you in any way?
Not personally.
Did he insult Islam?
No, but he was one of the main, like the biggest sin you could do is called shirk, and it could either translate to polytheism or idolatry, and like it's like ascribing false gods. Like, and he was calling people gods. Stuff like
Who?
that. Giovanni.
No. Who was he saying were gods? Like
I
pop
don't
stars,
remember.
music
I don't remember.
actors? Did he say that to you?
Just general. I think he was talking to me and Dane.
And he's sleeping at the top of the stairs,
Right.
which is outside of whose bedroom?
Kyle and Dane's. It's
Okay.
like
And where are you?
There's the area, and then there's a hallway, and it leads to their two bedrooms. They're right next to each other. Kyle and Dane.
Okay. So around what time did he make those statements?
Just
Like earlier at downtown, or while you were hanging out?
It was at the house.
It was at the house.
I don't know what time.
Did he know that he
Time
was?
is now.
Did he know that he was insulting Islam? Okay. But it made you upset.
That's what everyone does. No, it's just I'm used to hearing stuff like that. Didn't make me enraged or anything. Just I acknowledged it.
How did you acknowledge it?
Just in my head, I didn't say anything.
You didn't want to try and convince him or show him your point of view?
No, because people like that generally don't. Like Dane and his friends. The other day, I think maybe 3 days ago at this point, it's tomorrow. So So I guess 3 days ago, I was also at downtown with Dane and Kyle, and Dane had one other boy and two girls, and while I was praying at just outside, praying one of my prayers, and Dane brought the two girls, and they started laughing at me. That's why I was like,
That must have made you angry.
yes.
It would make me angry.
And,
Did they say anything?
No, they're just standing there laughing.
But Giovanni wasn't there for that.
No, I only met Giovanni yesterday.
You never knew him beforehand.
I've heard about him. I just met him today.
Okay.
Yesterday.
What do you mean you attacked Dane? You said that's why I attacked Dane.
Dane and Elaine are in the hospital, right?
I don't know. I know that there's people there with injuries. Okay, so that's why we're trying to find out everything. You said you didn't try and convince him. Did he know about your religious beliefs? Did he know how strongly you felt?
No, I hide it because of people these days. I tend to hide it. Dane knows and Kyle knows and Elaine knows, but Giovanni didn't know.
Did Dane and Kyle ascribe to any of your beliefs? Did they follow Islam at all?
Kyle is my best friend, pretty much my only, well, I don't know, was my only friend, and he doesn't follow Islam, but he respects it, and he doesn't make fun of it at all or anything like that. Dane, he doesn't say anything directly to my face, but I know how he feels. He thinks it's weird, and he thinks it's part of the prayer. You put your forehead on the ground. He's like, "Why are you doing that?"
He's only 13, though. I mean,
He's a lot more mature than.
Is it?
Just talking about what he did with girls, like weed and all that kind of stuff. Dane, Giovanni, bragging about that kind of stuff.
Okay, so I want to get back. I said Giovanni's at the top of the stairs. He's asleep.
Yes.
What do you do?
Well, you're recording me, and I don't want to say anything bad.
Okay. I want you to feel honest. All right. I want you to be able to tell me what happened. You said you killed him. You said with a knife. I want to know how. What happened? Where did you get? Was it your own?
When I was at the McDonald's, there's a Publix pretty much across the street. So right before I was going to work to Winn-Dixie, I walked there to Publix and I bought some dates, I bought a drink, and I bought a 6-inch utility kitchen knife, which is.
You mean like a box cutter knife or a kitchen knife, like just a straight edge?
It's called a utility knife. It's just a straight edge. I don't know why they call it utility knife. It's kind of like a combination between a chef's knife and a carving knife.
So like an all-around kitchen knife. No serrated blade, no folding. It's just solid. Okay. So why do you buy the knife?
It was for self-defense, I guess. Just wanted to have a knife, and Dane had a knife, and Dane's other friend had a knife. I forget his name. I think it's Jimmy, I think.
Okay. So do you keep that with you? Do you have a?
I bought it today, and I was wearing those. I don't know if you saw. I was wearing black pants, and they're
I didn't see it.
puffed at the bottom, and they really baggy up at the top. So I had these really big pockets, and it fit in there.
Is it one of these that comes with like a plastic sheath on
Yeah,
it?
it had a plastic sheath. I left it in the bathroom with my wallet.
You left the knife?
No, because after I went downstairs and Elaine escaped the house to call the police, I ran to the computer room, and I originally was in the bathroom, and I took out my wallet and the knife sheath. I had the knife in my hand, and I left them in the bathroom, but for some reason I decided to go to the closet just a little bit away. That's where I hid until I came out.
What was going through your mind? What were you thinking when he's sleeping on the floor? Is it all the insults to Islam that have kind of built up?
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just that's one of the reasons, but just I guess, yeah. I guess so.
Well, you tell me. I mean, I want you to be able to express what you feel. I mean, he's asleep, so there obviously wasn't an altercation at that moment. So, what do you think?
Just I know he's not a good person.
You could say it.
He's not a good person. He does weed. He does stuff with girls, fornication, and today's was his birthday. He just turned 13, and just a bad person overall. And then he went and said people or whatever are gods or godlike or something like that.
Corey paints a narrative that is reliant on two questionable points. First, Corey states that Giovanni Sierra has engaged in blasphemy against Islam by claiming people are gods. His reasoning is that Islam is opposed to polytheism, and calling people gods would imply the existence of more gods than that described in the Quran. Corey cannot cite the specific statement Giovanni made, but it's highly unlikely that Giovanni was claiming that people are literally gods. It's more likely that Corey is looking to stretch Giovanni's words, which could have been as benign as, "The members of my favorite band are like gods to me," into a blasphemous statement. That is, Corey has likely already a plan to kill Giovanni, and the murder was unlikely to have been inspired by some off-the-cuff comment Giovanni made during his birthday party. Second, Corey claims that the knife he bought immediately before the birthday party was a utility knife meant for self-defense and not intended for the birthday party. Not only is this timeline of events too coincidental to be convincing, but a review of Corey's Google history would show Corey having searched for knives prior to the party. Put together, Corey's statements to the police seem to show that the stabbing was not a spontaneous act, but a planned one. In addition, Corey attempting to cover up the planning, essentially turning a first-degree murder into a second-degree murder, shows that Corey is well aware of the nuances of his actions, as well as the legal implications. This will come back to bite him when he ultimately pleads guilty by insanity, as an insane person does not attempt to downplay the severity of his actions.
So just all that stuff together.
And you were thinking about that?
Yeah.
Were you supposed to be sleeping in one room, and you came out? What room were you supposed to be sleeping in?
No, I wasn't supposed to be sleeping anywhere. I mean, everyone fell asleep in different rooms. Dane was in his room, Powell was in his room, and Giovanni was on the floor in the top.
On the top of the landing of the steps?
You go up the stairs, this is the area. That's what it was.
And where were you?
I was in Dane's room on Dane's bed. Dane was sleeping. He put out an air mattress, and for some reason he was sleeping not on his own bed, on the air mattress.
Okay.
I was just on Dane's bed until I decided to go out of the room.
Okay. And the knife is still in your pocket when you leave the room, the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. Do you take the sheath off in the bedroom?
I had it on and off just because I went out there and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't do this. And I was debating, and I ended up doing it.
Okay. And how did you do it?
Well, he was sleeping, and I think I had the knife unsheathed, and I stabbed him in the stomach, and then he woke up and started screaming, and then I don't really remember exactly what happened after that.
Did you stab him again?
Yeah, I stabbed him a bunch of times.
Okay, where?
Everywhere, mostly in the neck and stomach.
And what was he doing?
He was screaming, trying to save himself.
Was he battling with his hands? Was he telling you to stop? Was he calling for help?
Yeah.
All those things. Do you know if his arms got cut at all when he was trying to fight you off?
I don't know.
Was he calling for
He
Kyle?
was just saying, he was just saying help, stop, or something like that.
Okay.
And then Elaine woke up.
And then what happened?
She was just saying, what's going on, you guys are scaring me. And then she eventually came up the stairs, and I lunged at her. And she fell down the stairs, and I don't know, she was on the floor, and then Dane woke up. So I guess she ran outside, and I guess she called the police from there.
Okay.
And I ran back up and I started attacking Dane.
When you lunged at Elaine, were you able to slice or stab her?
Yeah, she got cut a couple times.
Where?
I don't know.
Okay. So she goes downstairs or out of the house?
I don't know. She was left laying on the floor, and I ran up because Dane was waking up. I didn't want him to call the police.
And what was Dane saying?
He said he's scared.
Okay. So then what? What'd you do to Dane?
I attacked him.
Okay. How?
With a knife. I stabbed him in the stomach, I think.
Okay. How many times did you stab him?
I don't know. A lot.
Okay. And then what happens?
I don't know if Dane or Elaine are alive. Dane was a lot more injured than Elaine was.
Why?
Just because I was on him longer.
Were you able to stab him more times than Elaine?
Not more.
Okay. And then what happens?
I go into Kyle's room and I say, Kyle, wake, because we always used to mess with Kyle whenever Dane's got a sleepover and he's got some friends. Kyle's sleeping, we used to go in and mess with him and say all these, this stuff.
Go ahead, share it. Like what?
I'm trying to think. We never said this exactly, but I can't think of any examples. Like, Kyle, the house is on fire, you gotta get up. Like, we never said that specifically, but just
some type of emergencies or something that would startle him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I was like, Kyle, I just killed Giovanni and I attacked Dane and Kyle. I'm not gonna hurt you because you're my best friend, but I want you to get up and I want you to. I forget what I told him. I want you to just be up and I want you to accept Islam. I want you to be safe. Stuff like that.
You want him to convert?
Yes.
So that he could be saved.
Yes.
And what did he say?
He didn't say anything. He didn't believe me. He was just sitting on the bed, and then I opened the door, and you could, I think you could see Giovanni's body, and his throat was sliced, blood all over the carpet, and then I think he was just kind of sitting on the bed in shock. And then
Was Giovanni making any noises at this
he
point?
was dead at that point.
He was dead at that point. And what was Dane doing?
He was lying on the airbed bleeding.
Did you see him making any sounds, calling for help?
Quietly.
Who's he calling?
Just like making noises. Just like, just noises.
Okay.
I don't think he was calling anyone specifically.
And what's Kyle doing? While you're talking to him, what's his response to you?
Well, he just woke up, so I think he was half awake, and then he was just kind of sitting on the bed in disbelief. And then, like, he thought I was joking, because we always joke around with him.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, once he saw them, like, there were no lights in the room, but I guess eventually saw my hands were all bloody, my whole arms, all my clothes were soaked in blood, and just probably on my face too. And he probably saw Giovanni in his body, and he started realizing that everything's fine, or not fine, everything's real. I wasn't lying.
Was he able to see Giovanni from his bed looking out the door?
I don't know if he saw it, but you can see it from where he was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw it or not.
No, I didn't.
No, if Kyle saw it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. So then what happens? You're asking him to convert.
I didn't expect a response from him because I always talk to him and say, hey, you need to convert. I want you to be saved. I want you to go to heaven, paradise, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think he was getting kind of interested, and then but he didn't really want to. So I guess he really likes bacon or something. He didn't want to give up bacon.
Is that the response you were surprised by?
No. And he didn't want to pray 5 times a day. And just Kyle's was my best friend, so I didn't want to attack him like with words, like saying, hey, I can't be your friend because you're not going to do this. So.
Because he was at least supportive of your beliefs throughout your friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens?
At the house?
Yeah.
I run downstairs into the computer room, and I at this point I was close to passing out because I was just like my vision was getting all blurry. I could barely stand,
Mhm.
and I just sat inside the bathroom for a while, and I was sitting in the shower area,
Okay.
and I took my wallet out of my left pocket. I took the plastic sheath out of my right pocket. And I just put them in the corner, and then after a while, I was thinking this isn't a good spot, so I just crossed from there. So I just walk over to. There's the computer room. It's got a bathroom on one side and it's got a closet on the other. So I just go over to the closet, and I was hiding in there until I came.
Had you left your wallet and the knife in the bathroom? You did.
The knife sheet. I had the knife on me.
Oh, you kept the knife with you.
Yes.
Okay. What about your phone throughout this? Where's your phone?
I have no idea.
But was it somewhere in the house?
It must have fallen out of my pocket or something when I attacked
Okay.
Giovanni. Maybe I left it on the top of the stairs.
So you're in the closet. Is Kyle still up in the bedroom?
I assume so.
Okay. And then what happens?
Well, I was there for a while, and then.
Is this a clothing closet? Or like a utility closet with a store?
It's like a walk-in closet.
For Elaine?
It's Elaine's. She was a lawyer, and a family lawyer, and she has what are they called? The things you pull open. Cabinet.
Like a drawer.
Drawer.
Yep.
She had drawers, and she had a shelf.
Okay, so you're in there.
Right.
Is there a light on?
Yes.
Is there a window
Yes.
to the outside?
Yes.
Okay, so you're in there. The light's on. Then what?
I just waited there for a while. Nothing much happened until the police showed up, and then they started telling me to come out. And I was in.
How are they telling you to come out?
Just saying, this is whoever, or not. This is the Gardens Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
Come out with your hands up. Something
Okay.
like that.
And what's your response?
I don't say anything, or I say, "No, you don't have to go along." And
Can you repeat it? I don't understand.
it's Arabic. It means there is no God but Allah.
Okay.
And I just in there for a while, and I was in there for maybe an hour until they started getting serious, and they brought in like a robot, and they were shooting the door with something. Like I saw the bullet holes.
How do you know there's a robot?
I saw it.
Okay. You have the door open to the closet?
When they were trying to break up. It's just a push, like a fold door,
Mm-hmm.
but they were pushing it open with something, and it got open a bit, and it opened even more when I threw down the shelf onto the ground and kind of opened the door too. So
Okay.
I saw the robot, and I heard the robot. It's got the voice saying, "You need to come out," and I eventually just I throw my knife out so they know I'm unarmed because that's all I have on me. And then I sat in there for maybe another 5-10 minutes, like thinking what to do. And then eventually I just they right as I was about to come out, for some reason they threw some kind of gas, tear gas, I don't know. And it started making my face burn, my eyes burn. I couldn't breathe. But I was coming out anyway, so they didn't need to do that. But I come out, they say put your hands up, and they get on the floor, and say hit him with the shield, and they smash me down on the floor with the shield,
Mm-hmm.
and then they put the wire handcuffs on me.
Okay. And
then
they take you out.
Then
They take
me
you out.
out, and then
Okay.
everything else happened.
So the last you know, to your belief, and correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, Giovanni is dead still at the top of the stairs where he lay. Is that right? Okay. Dane is in his bedroom.
Well, when I was like talking back and forth with the police when they were trying to get me to come out, I said, "Where's Kyle?" They said, "Right here," but they wouldn't tell me anymore. I don't know where he is now, but I asked, "Where's Elaine and Dane?" And they said they were taken to the hospital, and I said, "Where's Giovanni?" And they said they don't know. They're with me. So.
Okay.
When did you buy the knife?
Yesterday.
So today's Monday, so you bought it yesterday, Sunday?
Yes.
Before you went to downtown?
Yes.
What is that abandoned building that you were staying in?
Well, It's a big plaza. It's not completely abandoned. On one side they have there's a Domino's and a liquor store and I think a nail shop.
Okay. This was up by the melting pot
Yes.
on US 1 towards
Yes.
Gardens, Juneau, right up there.
Yes.
And that Publix is in that plaza right there. That's where you bought the knife.
It's at a different plaza, like across the street and up a little.
Okay. That's where you bought. You bought it at a Publix.
Yes.
What time do you think?
2, 3.
In the middle of the day.
Is it the Publix with the Duffy's next door, or the other one?
Yes.
Yes, the one next to Duffy's? Okay. You paying cash or credit?
I tried to use my pay card from work, but it didn't work, so I used cash.
What's the pay card?
At Winn-Dixie, if you don't have a checking account, then you could get a pay card. It's like a debit card that they just deposit your money into and use that. But it didn't work, so I just used mine.
We don't get over there too often. The abandoned place where you're staying, is it in the same plaza that Publix is in?
No, it's across the street. It's on the other side of the street. It's right by the McDonald's.
Okay.
And
that's a little farther north, I think, right?
Okay. And Kyle and I have been going to that plaza for a couple weeks now, and we found there was a fire escape room. Everything there is abandoned on the side we were on, except for the other side, which is where the Domino's is. So we were just there, and we not broken, the door was open, so we just opened it.
Oh, is this unlocked?
Yeah.
Do you have property in there, or anything?
Property?
Yeah.
My grandpa owns houses, duplexes and a triplex nearby, but I don't know.
No, in the plaza where you were living, where you were staying. Do you have any of your stuff in there? Prayer stuff, or?
I kept all my stuff with me. I had a backpack. I brought all my stuff there and packed it, and then when I leave, I just pack it back in the backpack.
So you don't leave anything at that abandoned warehouse?
So your backpack is at the house?
Last I noticed.
Okay.
You have property in there? What do you have in there?
I have my work clothes, my Winn-Dixie shirt, my pants, a box cutter for my from the stalker, name tag, there's some matches.
Any Islamic stuff? Any literature? Any?
No.
You don't keep a Quran with you?
I had an app on my phone.
Okay.
And
2018.
Yeah, I have a prayer rug and a Quran at home, but I didn't bring that. And then I had some.
That's at your home where your mom and siblings live?
And I just had some dates on me as well from earlier Publix.
Were you ever in communication with anybody on the internet? Over in Syria or anything like that?
No.
Nothing like that?
Any other country?
I talked to this one girl from Indonesia, but that's it.
The detectives don't follow up on this comment, but it's actually important. About 1 week prior to the stabbing, Corey's girlfriend, whom he met online, broke up with him. Hafsa, a Muslim woman living in Indonesia, discussed with Corey various topics, ranging from marriage to Corey's dark thoughts. Hafsa warned Corey against his suicidal thoughts, but gave encouragement to Corey when he discussed killing infidels. But 1 week before Giovanni's birthday party, Hafsa told Corey that she would be removing herself from the internet to study the Quran in school. Being so, she would no longer be able to contact Corey. What can I do with my life? I have nothing. 5 days later, while at Giovanni's birthday party sleepover, Corey sent a final text to Hafsa. Please, this is important. The text was followed by pictures of the sleeping 13-year-old that Corey would subsequently stab to death. The fact that the police request Corey's online contacts, but then immediately gloss over his answer, is probably a misstep on their part. The detectives were likely hyper-focused on possible contacts in the Middle East, and thus dismissive of Corey's announcement of being in contact with someone in Asia. It's also quite common for Westerners to not associate Asia with Islam, despite the fact that this region hosts the largest population of Muslims on Earth, namely Indonesians.
So, let's go back to this morning. Corey, I guess I understand what happened. Why now?
I don't know. I just
I'm
felt-
hoping you can help us understand. Like, it seems like Elaine was nice enough to let you stay there in the past. Is that right?
Yeah, but she's always had problems with me, and she's texting Kyle that, oh, you're lucky I let Corey stay over, and she talks about how she doesn't like me, and she thinks I'm a bad person, bad influence.
Why?
I don't think she likes Islam.
Had she insulted Islam before?
No. Well, not really. I mean, she's talked about like, oh, you should come to church. Like, oh, you don't need to go to the just because you're Muslim, you could still go to church, right, and learn about Jesus and stuff like that. Just nothing like insulting, but I don't know if if she's just ignorant or.
How did you feel about that?
I just said no, I wouldn't like to go. That was the end of it.
But how did you feel about it?
Just
Did it make you angry?
no, it didn't really affect me. Just saying I didn't want to go.
I mean, you told me you never met Giovanni before yesterday. Is that right?
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out why you would attack him first if he's the person you met the most recently.
Because he was just the easiest, I guess. I was never going to hurt Kyle because he was my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And Elaine was locked downstairs in her room, and Dane was sprawled like in a corner, so it was hard to get to him.
Mm-hmm.
And Giovanni was just laying on the floor.
Had you been speaking about your beliefs at all earlier on in the night? And the conversation didn't go well, you got mad, and that's when you planned to do it when they went to sleep?
No, I didn't talk about beliefs.
When you bought the knife, did you have it in mind that you would hurt the next person that insulted you or your religion?
Well, I was thinking for self-defense, but I was thinking like if anything like this happens, at least I have it. So it was mostly for self-defense, especially since my bike got stolen and I saw some kids that might have done it, and I flashed the knife and they all ran away. But that was yesterday, but I guess I was maybe in the back of my mind thinking I could do something like this, but that wasn't the main plan.
Did you have a location in mind, maybe other than the house or other than these people?
Just anyone.
Maybe people were more strangers, or what was going through your mind?
Just anyone.
When you went to Publix yesterday, what were you wearing?
What I got arrested in, I was wearing a maroon t-shirt and rib cuff. I don't know what kind of pants they were. Kind of sweatpants. See, they had like an elastic waist and
What color were they? Black, so like sweatpants?
I bought them from Urban Outfitters. It's the only. The only other things I wear are jeans and khakis. So those are the only kind of thing I got from there. So I was just trying to fit in by buying those. Just look like everyone else.
Do you keep in contact with anybody from the mosque you were going to?
No.
How many times did you go there?
A lot. It was just over the summer though, so I don't know. I didn't keep counting anything.
Did you go to Italy?
Well,
I'm not familiar. How much did they encourage you to go?
you're supposed to go every Friday,
Every Friday?
but that's like the holy day. Like Christians have the Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and but they also had these classes where they just taught about Islamic stuff, and they were on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I sometimes attended those.
Oh, okay. You didn't meet anybody there that you became friendly with or anything?
I was always friendly with Sharif, the president.
The president?
But
Did he teach these classes?
he taught sometimes when the imam wasn't there. The imam's like the priest.
Right.
And so when he wasn't there, Sharif taught it. But besides that, he just he was always around, but he didn't always teach the classes.
The imam?
Sharif.
Oh, sure.
You mentioned it made you angry, and you were glad you had the knife when your bike was stolen. You flashed it at some kids. You said it was yesterday.
Yes.
Where was that?
It was at the plaza because I had my bike locked to a tree.
Mm-hmm.
I came back and it wasn't there, and the lock was on the ground. It looked like somebody smashed it and it broke, and they took the bike. And I saw some kids acting suspicious. It was 4 kids, and I started like heading their direction, and then one of them was like, "Hey, what's up? You good?" or something like that. And I pulled the knife out of my pocket just to show them. I kept it close to my side, and they all ran away. So,
Were they about your age, younger than you, older?
about my age.
About your age. Was that the abandoned plaza, or was that the plaza you work in?
Let's see, man.
The abandoned plaza. But your bike was gone.
Yes.
Had that made you angry throughout the day?
No, it was just I wasn't really upset or angry. I just couldn't go to work now. I was actually headed
That
to
would
work.
make me angry if someone stole my bike.
I was heading to work on foot, but I wasn't even halfway there, and I was already like 30 minutes late. So I decided to call up Kyle and just see where he was. He was at downtown, so I just decided to head there instead.
You walked there?
Yes.
So I want to try and just have you explain to me again the incidents in the house when you attacked Giovanni first. He hadn't attacked you physically, right? You weren't.
No,
there was no physical self-defense on
he
your
did
part.
nothing to me personally.
Okay. And no one had attacked you personally. And you didn't pre-plan this, like when the time is right, I'm going to use my knife and hurt them. Can you describe to me now what you were thinking? What made you take those actions then?
Well, I wanted to hurt some disbelievers for what they've done, and then everyone. I was just on my phone, and I noticed everyone was asleep. So I figured, I guess now's a good time.
Were you talking to somebody? Or were you reading scripture or what?
I was just watching YouTube videos, like unrelated, and then right before I decided, when I was thinking, maybe I might do this, I was reading just random verses from the Quran.
When you say you were looking at YouTube videos unrelated, what were you looking at?
Just it was just like comedy videos. Really, there's a YouTuber called Grade A Under A. I was just watching his videos, completely unrelated to.
And at some point, you switched to reading verses from the Quran.
Well, I was watching that, and then I was watching that with Kyle, and then Kyle got tired. He went to his room, and then I switched from that to some language videos because I like languages, linguistics.
Okay.
And after I watched a couple of linguistics videos, that's when I noticed everyone was asleep, and I was thinking, maybe I should do this.
And
what time was that? Do you remember from your phone?
Around 4.
Oh, you guys stayed up all night?
At what point do you start reading scripture? Right after that? After they go to sleep?
After they go to sleep, and I go out at the top of the stairs where Giovanni is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, I don't know how hard it is to kill someone with a knife. And I was just thinking, I was just trying to get some motivation, I guess, by reading the Quran.
Did it help?
What specifically?
What do you mean?
Verses, what?
Well, I wasn't reading any verses like related to it. It was just about Moses. It wasn't anything to do with what I did or any violence or anything. It's just they calmed me.
I'm not real versed in the religion, so I'm going to ask the question, and you just tell me yes or no. Was there any type of formal mental decision on your part to hurt disbelievers in general, like prior to that time, or was that just impulsive, like at the moment?
It wasn't impulsive. I knew I wanted to eventually hurt some. In Arabic, called kuffar. The singular is kafir. Disbeliever.
Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? What's the translation?
Disbeliever.
Disbeliever.
Catholic?
Kafir is the singular, kufar is the plural.
Okay.
And
how-
it translates to disbeliever.
And how long ago did you know that you wanted to have some disbelievers?
A long time. Just,
A year?
yeah, I mean, a couple months after I converted, I guess, when I started learning about the religion properly.
Okay. And we talking March or
Well,
June of last year?
I guess, I converted on January 1st of the 2017, so,
And how did you convert? How is that done? Is that done at the mosque? Is it done
no,
online?
you just say an Arabic phrase,
Okay.
and then you must, you
So
start
continue.
praying.
You converted January 1st of 2017.
Yeah, and I guess since the FBI stopped by around, I guess it stopped around about March, so it was somewhere between January and February, or January and March, where I started learning about that. I guess that's why I'm on the FBI terrorist watch list.
Was there any point that you became more dedicated to that?
No.
For instance, did the FBI visit sway you one way or the other, lessen it or increase it?
Well, at first it scared me a little, so I just started to lay low, but after a while I was just thinking, who cares? And I started being a bit more open about it. And then they visited Kyle, which kind of scared him, but it didn't really affect me. They're saying, "Oh, I think he's gonna do something soon." We didn't seem to scare him enough when we came over a year ago. And,
Did any of that thought process involve any weapon, any gathering of weapons? Do you have guns, explosives?
well, the FBI was concerned that I get to my mom's boyfriend's guns because he's got a refrigerator-sized safe filled with guns. But I never got him. I never even held a gun, I don't think. The only thing I knew I could get was a knife, which is why I bought one.
So you couldn't get your hands on any guns. You couldn't get any
Not even if
explosives.
I
or
wanted
anything.
it.
Okay. So there's nothing at your house or your mom's house?
Like guns, explosives.
Yeah, anything like that. Nothing at the abandoned plaza we were talking about? So the only thing you get was a knife. Okay. So would it be accurate to say that you had been thinking about this in some respects since the spring of 2017,
Yeah, I guess so.
or before the visit from the
Or-
FBI?
I guess slightly before the visit, and then they got a little scared, and then they visited me, and then it didn't change, so
Okay.
just ever since then.
Okay. You need some water?
Yeah, I'll take some.
Why don't I get you a bottle of water?
Did anybody ever talk at the mosque about doing anything like this?
I never, like, convincing me to do something like this.
Or just speaking about it?
Well, they were talking against scholars like Anwar al-Awlaki. So I didn't say anything. I just went along with it.
Oh, they would talk against them?
A deeper look into Corey's conversations with Hafsa would reveal some answers with regards to the detective's questions about whether Corey had planned to engage in murder. In a handwritten letter to Hafsa, Corey discusses his qital, or war. He also shares videos on how to make a homemade bomb, to which Hafsa responds,
Yes, our enemies deserve that.
Moreover, he expresses to Hafsa his lack of concern with regard to the FBI visiting his friend Kyle. Kyle and his mom are going to say, I'm normal and I'm not a terrorist. Corey's written statements all point to not just a plan to enact harm, but also confidence that he won't be caught before the act is complete.
Is there anything else you want to tell us, or want there to be a record of that we haven't asked you, or
No, I don't think so.
no?
Mm-mm.
I'm not sure if we got it here. Did I get your? It's Emily and Evan is your brother and sister, right?
Yes.
How old was Emily?
Emily's 15. Evan's
12. What was your mom's name?
Jennifer Johnson.
What's her phone number?
561-222-0547.
0547. Okay. Has she been calling? You haven't been home in a couple of weeks. Has she been calling you? Worried about you?
She's been texting me. She disabled my 4G on my phone, so I haven't really been using that, but I
It
guess...
slows it way down, huh?
But I guess she's still been trying to text me, and, like the night, like I wasn't even planning on doing this, but I haven't been talking to her, and then tonight, or last night, I said I love you, and I said I'm safe, I said I'm fine, and, she just said, alright, I'm glad you're safe, I hope you come home soon, I love you, things like that.
Okay. You sure there's nothing else you need to say?
Like,
No, I'm just asking, giving you an opportunity.
I guess not.
No?
I don't think of anything.
Alright. Just sit tight for a few minutes, right, bud? Get them. Just get you around. Make sure we get that.
You alright?
Yes, thank you.
Thirsty.
Yes.
So, something I didn't ask you, and we have, I'm trying to get this from the point of view of your actions. Everyone's there and their mindset. Was there any drugs used last night? Any weed, any pills, any synthetic weed?
The only thing we had were the vapes.
The vapes?
It's always got his nicotine, and I didn't use any nicotine.
Okay. How about your health? How's your health?
My health, physical health, or
Yeah.
mental health.
Both.
Physical health, I guess I'm alright. Mental health, I have I take a Zoloft. Well, I did. I haven't taken it in a while. I took Zoloft, like an antidepressant, and I see a psychiatrist and a psychologist.
Okay, so what's the psychiatrist's name?
Psychiatrist?
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen him twice. His last name's Cohen.
Cohen?
Yes.
It's a male?
Yes.
Do you remember his first name?
I don't.
Do you know where his office was? Is it around Gardens Jupiter, or was that of a hospital?
It's further. I don't know where it is. My mom always drove me there. I've only been there 2 or 3 times.
So it wasn't based in a hospital. It was an office.
Yes.
Okay.
The psychologist I talked to more. I talked to him a couple times.
Who's he?
His name's Gary. It's either Wilkin or Whitkin, something like that.
Where's his office?
I think it's near Norfolk. It's around that area. It's close to where I was at Mullen. It's near that area.
So somewhere around North Lake and Military.
Yeah.
He's a doctor, a PhD.
Yes.
You said Wilkin or what?
It's either Whitkin or Wilkin.
Oh, Whitkin.
Because
I'll get you some more in just a moment.
okay. Because before I saw him, I saw a counselor, but he wasn't much help. So I stopped seeing him, and his name was one of those. His name was also Gary, and it started with a W or something like that. So I don't know which one he is. They had almost the exact same name.
Who prescribed the Zoloft?
The psychiatrist.
Okay.
I
And
was on 50 milligrams for a month, and then I didn't feel anything, so they upped it to 100 milligrams a day.
and when was that? We're talking
Recently.
a year, 2 years?
Recently. Weeks, months.
So we're in March now. Would you say it was somewhere around the New Year? Before the holidays? After the holidays?
Even closer. It was really recently.
Recently.
Yes.
And when did you stop taking it?
Well, I just stopped taking it a couple of days ago because I didn't have it on me. I didn't bring it in my backpack. It's at my house, so I couldn't take it.
And how much were you taking it then?
It was just one pill, but it was 100 milligrams a day.
Okay. So you've been off it now for how long? About 2 weeks you said you've been out on the streets?
No, less than. I haven't taken it in maybe like less than a week, a couple days, 5 days, 4 days.
How do you feel then opposed to now?
I don't feel any difference when I take it or I don't take it.
Okay.
I don't think it's working.
Did it make you sleepy at all?
Doesn't do nothing.
Didn't do anything.
It's supposed to make you sleepy, but it's either supposed to make you sleepy or this unrestfulness. It just depends on the person, I guess. But I haven't felt any effects, side effects, or intended effects.
Okay.
Nothing. That's
is
why I
that-
upped my dose. That's why I doubled it.
Is that psychiatrist the first psychiatrist you've been to?
Yes.
Have you ever been Baker acted where you're taken to a psychiatric hospital?
No. My mom. I think my mom's threatened to bring me to one before,
Okay.
just because of like suicidal talk.
And how long have you had suicidal thoughts or talk?
I mean, how long? A month or two, 3, around there.
Okay.
Just, or maybe even like, or just like, it started in like around 2018, it got serious. Like I've always been unhappy with, it's got more serious in 2018.
Okay. You go to a psychiatrist and do you sit down and talk with him for some length of time? Does he
The
administer any tests?
psychiatrist I don't talk to, he just prescribes the medicine. The psychologist is the one I talk to and discuss my day with.
So let's start with the psychiatrist first. He was first out of the two professionals?
First I visited.
Yes.
No, my mom was worried about me, so she got me to a psychologist, and the
Okay.
psychologist said I needed to see a psychiatrist to prescribe me the medicine.
Okay. Did either person talk with you and tell you or confirm what you thought you were suffering from?
No.
So did they tell you what the medication was supposed to treat?
It's supposed to make you just more motivated, less depressed feeling.
Less depressed. Okay. You feel you were depressed then?
Yes.
Okay. And you feel that took part or had anything to do with what happened last night or early this morning?
Well, I guess because I don't really care about my life. I figured if I die from the police, then it doesn't really matter.
Why?
Because I don't really feel like I wanted to be alive. Because I don't enjoy life.
And that's been mostly since 2018, or was it earlier than that?
I've always felt like that, but it's gotten worse in 2018.
You said your physical health is fine, so you've seen doctors where you have no complaints.
Yes.
Okay. Do you suffer from any seizures or any traumatic brain injuries or anything?
No.
Okay. And prior to this medication, which was administered in 18 or prescribed in 18, you weren't on any medications,
Right.
other than maybe for an illness or something.
Right.
Okay. You don't have seizures. You don't have hallucinations of any kind. Okay. Can you describe generally how you were feeling before everyone went to bed that night? Was there anything unusual that day?
No, nothing unusual. I was feeling just my normal
A
self.
little tight?
Yes.
Go ahead, you can finish your answer.
What was I
You
saying?
said, I asked you how you were feeling before everyone went to bed. Generally, that day.
I was feeling alright. I was just normal. I wasn't feeling any different than I normally do. Just normal self. I don't. Just it was the opportunity is why I decided to do that today. Not because I was feeling any different than I normally do.
Lift them up, sorry. Like this.
So the fact that everybody was asleep
Yeah, just made it easier.
Better?
Thank you.
and wouldn't put up much of a fight.
Yeah. Rather than like going out in public and attacking some people.
Do you think this would be more successful because of that opportunity?
Well, what the plan was I was going to. Because I've never done anything with a knife before. I wasn't really expecting what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting Giovanni to just stab him in the throat a couple times or in the stomach, and he wouldn't be able to make any noise. And then I'd finish him off, and then I'd go to Dane, do Dane, and then I'd go down and tackle Lane. But it got messed up when Giovanni started screaming, and Elaine woke up, and that's how everything messed up.
It got a little bit more complicated.
Right.
He wasn't as passive or didn't shut up as fast as you expected.
The knife wasn't. It's not meant for that. It's just cutting the kitchen.
Go ahead.
It's a kitchen knife. It's not meant for. It's not like a self-defense knife or cutting knife, stabbing knife, or anything like that.
Okay.
But it wasn't effective. And it slid, and it didn't have a grip, so I got a big slice here. My skin's open. I got this big chunk cut off, and then I can't even feel the top of my finger. Really bad. I got a knuckle cut here, just because the knife was like stabbing him, and then it just, because of all the blood, it was slippery and it slipped and it cut me that way.
Did it fall out of your hand?
All right, I think I'm going to take a break. We'll get you some water. You finished that pretty quick. Obviously pretty thirsty, so I'll get another cup of water for you. You all right otherwise? Need to use the bathroom?
No.
Did you eat normally yesterday?
Well, for me, normally I usually only have one meal a day. Usually I don't eat much. Yesterday I had McDonald's. I had a 20-piece
Chicken
nugget at McDonald's, and then I had one slice of pizza at Giovanni's birthday party at, I think it's Grimaldi's, something like that.
Grimaldi's inside downtown?
Yeah.
So that's why Dane was there? And Kyle? Because Giovanni was having a birthday party?
They were always hanging out there, but Dane just decided to go with Giovanni because he was there because of his birthday, and that's why he had a sleepover. Normally he wouldn't be able to because this is school today, but his parents allowed it because it was his birthday.
Did Giovanni have family there? Did he have like mom and dad and aunts and uncles? His whole family was there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you attend that?
I did.
You did? Okay. Did you have any issues with his family members?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys eat inside or outside on the patio? Inside. Okay. Were you invited, or they just invited you in when you showed up?
They invited up. They let me sit down. They said hi. They greeted me, and like they just because I was with Dane, I knew Dane, and Giovanni was like Dane's best friend.
Okay.
So one of them.
Do you know what school Giovanni went to?
Maybe Lincoln Middle. I'm not sure though.
Okay. Did you have any issue with any of his family?
No, I mean the only thing that bothered me about them was that they're drinking alcohol. But I mean,
okay.
I didn't expect anything more from them.
Okay. You said you eat once a day. Is that because you're not at home and that's all you can afford, or is that part of your religious practice?
Neither. It's just I don't eat much. When I was at home, we have food in the house. There's a lot of food, but not a lot of stuff you could just like quickly make and eat. So I just usually dinner, just like a big dinner, and that's it for the day. Usually maybe some snacks throughout the day, but it's not because of religion or anything like that.
So when that birthday party was over, that's when you left and went back with Elaine and Kyle and Dane and Giovanni.
We were around downtown for a while.
Had his family gone home?
Giovanni had like 4 or 5 friends with him as well. They all went home, and his family went home. His friends went home. So it was just Kyle, me, Dane, and Giovanni until Elaine showed up. She was at a bar with some guy. I don't know, I've never seen him before.
Okay.
And actually, yeah, I think I do have to go to the bathroom.
Alright. You want to drink some water first, or you want to go to the restroom first?
I'll go to the restroom first.
Alright, hang on a second, and we'll just make sure that it's clear for you to go in, alright?
Okay.
Corey Johnson was sentenced to life in prison for his stabbing of 3 people at the 2018 sleepover. Although he pled not guilty by reason of insanity, the jury did not buy his argument. Too much evidence points to this crime being premeditated, and that Corey was both aware of his actions and knew that they were wrong. Perhaps Corey can find a peaceful vehicle for his need for purity behind bars. Thanks for watching. These videos take me dozens of hours to produce, so if you appreciate these videos, please display your appreciation by liking, subscribing, and commenting below. Peace out, Wildcats.